हॅलो स्टुडंट्स. सो आपण पुन्हा एकदा आपल्या थर्ड चॅप्टरला सुरुवात करतोय. लास्ट जेव्हा आपण लेक्चर संपवलं होतं तेव्हा आपण सबसेक्शन 1, सबसेक्शन 2 आणि सबसेक्शन 5 हे 3 सबसेक्शन बघितले होते. सबसेक्शन 3 आणि सबसेक्शन 4 ला रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम किंवा RCM असं ॲब्रिव्हिएशन आहे, ते आपण आजपासून सुरू करणार आहोत. ह्या चॅप्टर मध्ये ऍक्च्युली तुम्हाला दोनच महत्वाच्या गोष्टी बघायच्या आहेत. एक तर रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम हा एक मोठा कॉम्पोनंट आहे, आणि सेकंडली कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम जी सेक्शन 10 च्या अंडर आपण बघणार आहोत. हे दोनच ह्याचे मोठे कॉम्पोनंट आहे. तुम्ही जर मगाशी पण आपण सुरुवातीला जो ओव्हरव्ह्यू बघितला होता त्यात जर लक्षात तुमच्या आलं असेल तर आपल्याला एक्सप्लेन दी एक्सटेंड कमेन्समेंट ऑफ CGST ऍक्ट, IGST ऍक्ट, SGST ऍक्ट, UTGST ऍक्ट, प्रोव्हिजन्स रिलेटेड टू लेव्ही अँड कलेक्शन ऑफ CGST अँड IGST ती आपण बघितलीच आहे. त्याच्यानंतर अनालाइज द सर्व्हिसेस ऑन विच टॅक्स इज पेबल अंडर रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम, तो 9.3 आपण बघणार आहोत. कंपोजिशन लेव्ही आणि सेकंड इज अ पार्ट ऑफ कंपोजिशन लेव्ही. So two major components in these chapters, this chapter is reverse charge mechanism and composition scheme, among which we are today starting reverse charge mechanism. Now there are two subsections basically in reverse charge. We have discussed this. 9.3 is there and 9.4 is there. सो 9.3 आपण जेव्हा आपला मास्टर चार्ट काढला होता त्याच्यामध्ये आपण काय बघितलं होतं, रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम मॅन्डेटरी अँड रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम URD to RD or URP to RP, that means unregistered person to registered person. नाउ पहिल्यांदा आता रिव्हर्स चार्ज ची कॉन्सेप्ट काय ती समजून घेऊया. नीट लक्ष द्या. बेसिकली दोन प्रकारचे चार्जेस आहेत. एक आहे फॉरवर्ड चार्ज आणि सेकंड आहे रिव्हर्स चार्ज. नाउ फॉरवर्ड चार्ज तुम्हाला वेगळा शिकायची गरज नाहीये, कारण तुम्ही रुटीन मध्ये तो शिकताय ना, तो फॉरवर्ड चार्जच आहे. फॉरवर्ड चार्ज म्हणजे काय, तर सप्लायर आहे तो आपल्या रेसिपियंट कडून टॅक्स कलेक्ट करतो आणि तो गव्हर्नमेंटला टॅक्स जो आहे तो पे करतो. लक्षात येतंय? सो सप्लायर आपल्या रेसिपियंट कडून टॅक्स कलेक्ट करतो आणि ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ रेसिपियंट तो गव्हर्नमेंटला पे करतो. आपण जेव्हा इनडायरेक्ट टॅक्सचं मेकॅनिझम डिस्कस केलं होतं इन बेसिक, तेव्हा आपण ही गोष्ट बघितली होती. सो दिस इज नथिंग बट फॉरवर्ड चार्ज. सो it is called as forward charge because the supplier is collecting the tax from the forward person in his the supply chain, that is his recipient, and he is collecting tax from that recipient and paying it to the government. This was the indirect tax mechanism. Now what is reverse charge mechanism? So this is forward charge. Okay, so in case of reverse charge, here is supplier, he provides goods or services to the recipient. Correct. Now in this case, though supplier is giving goods and services and receiving certain amount of consideration, supplier is not going to pay tax to the government, but recipient is going to pay tax directly in government treasury. लक्षात येते? बेसिक डिफरन्स काय आहे की इन केस ऑफ फॉरवर्ड चार्ज, सप्लायर कलेक्ट्स टॅक्स फ्रॉम रेसिपियंट and pays to the government on behalf of that recipient. But in case of reverse charge, though supplier is providing goods and services to recipient, though recipient is giving consideration to supplier, tax will be payable to the government by the recipient himself. इथे सप्लायर टॅक्स पे करणार नाही, इथे रेसिपियंटच डायरेक्टली गव्हर्नमेंटला टॅक्स जो आहे तो पे करेल. सो बेसिकली जर तुम्ही विचार केला तर व्हॉट काइंड ऑफ टॅक्स इज दिस? दिस टॅक्स रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम इज टॅक्स ऑन इनवर्ड सप्लाय. व्हॉट इज दिस? टॅक्स ऑन इनवर्ड सप्लाय. सो अगदी लेमॅन लँग्वेज मध्ये दिस टर्म शुड नॉट बी युज्ड. आय एम रिपीटिंग, this term should not be used. You can say it is a purchase tax on purchases. So actually tax on purchase tax was there existing before GST, so we should not use that term, but we should use the term it is a tax on our inward supply. लक्षात येते? What is reverse charge? It is a tax on our inward supply, and hence recipient is going to pay tax on his purchases of goods or services. Obviously there are certain conditions, ते आपण आज बघायचे section 9 subsection 3 and section 9 subsection 4 मध्ये. But what is reverse charge? Basically that recipient is going to pay tax on his inward supply directly to the government. लक्षात येते? Now how he will take input tax credit is another part, we were going to discuss the same. But basic concept you should understand that in case of forward charge, it is a routine. Now forward charge is generally not said as forward charge. प्रत्येक वेळेला तो forward charge आहे असं म्हटलं जात नाही. But when it is a reverse charge, we should specifically mention it as reverse charge, and abbreviation used therein is RCM. That means reverse charge mechanism. So wherever we use the word RCM, it means reverse charge mechanism. Correct? So what is reverse charge? Basically, recipient is going to pay the tax directly to the government treasury. गव्हर्नमेंटच्या फंड मध्ये डायरेक्टली रेसिपियंट जो आहे तो टॅक्स पे करेल. Now you will understand why import of service is made taxable. Why import of service made taxable? It will come under reverse charge. So the person who is registered in India is going to pay tax on the same under reverse charge mechanism, because in case of import of service, the supplier of service is situated somewhere outside India. So Indian constitution and Indian government do not have control over that person, but you have control over the person situated in India, so you can collect tax from that person. Okay, so this was the basic concept behind the reverse charge mechanism. So obviously remember, in every concept when you are going to study here in after, ह्याच्यानंतर तुम्ही ज्या ज्या कॉन्सेप्ट शिकाल, ऑलवेज तुमच्या डोक्यामध्ये ही गोष्ट आली पाहिजे की ओके, हाऊ विल दिस प्रोव्हिजन अप्लाय टू रिव्हर्स चार्ज. सो आय विल से इनव्हॉइसिंग प्रोव्हिजन इज डिफरंट. करेक्ट? सॉरी. Second thing, time of supply provision is different. Third thing, your input tax credit. Actually, the rules are not different in input tax credit, but we have to understand it differently, because they have said okay in general manner, but we have to analyze how these rules or how these conditions will apply to RCM, reverse charge mechanism. Correct? So this is RCM, reverse charge mechanism. So these are basic 3 points where you need to know how reverse charge will operate. And in case of chapter 3, you must remember the services which are listed therein. Now the goods, now there are again two things. 9(3) is applicable on goods as well as services, but in case of 9(3), the goods is not in our syllabus. So the concept of reverse charge on goods, that there is a list specified, it is not included in our syllabus, but in case of services it is included in our syllabus. So we are going to discuss when there is a chapter wise exclusions from syllabus. They are hosted on ICI website. You can go and visit that website, so you can come to know what things are not applicable. Obviously we are not going to cover that things in our classroom, so there will not be a confusion that okay हे आम्ही शिकलोय आणि आम्हाला आता परीक्षेसाठी applicable नाही. No, if it is not applicable for exam, then we are not going to waste our time on learning the same. जर आम्हाला गुड्सची लिस्टच नाहीये तर आम्ही ती परत रिसाइट करून आणि अंडरस्टँड करून काही करण्याची गरज नाही. ओके, wherever it is necessary to understand any other chapter, then we are definitely going to overlook at it, but otherwise we are not going to take a look at the exclusions from our syllabus, because we are not concerned with it. No questions will be asked on that portion. So we have discussed the concept of reverse charge mechanism. Now let's go to the section 9(3). Firstly, we are going to see 9(3) because 9(4) is much easier. 9(4) ला फार मोठ्या conditions नाहीये, and actually 9(4) is applicable in only few cases right now. 9(4) was there when GST was arrived, but then 9(4) was suspended till much period, and after that it is made applicable only to certain cases. So applicability of 9(4) is very much restricted. It is very much easy. 9(3) is bit lengthy, so we are starting with section 9 subsection 3. Now come to 9 subsection 3. The government may, on the recommendation of the council by notification, specify categories of supply of goods or services or both, the tax on which shall be paid on reverse charge basis. What they have used the words shall be reverse charge basis by the recipient of such goods or services or both, and all the provisions of this act shall apply to such recipient as if he is the person who is liable for paying the tax in relation to such supply of goods or services, or both. What they have said, the government may, on the recommendation of the council, may notify or by notification specify certain categories of goods. म्हणजे काय, तर गव्हर्नमेंट त्यांच्या ते नोटिफिकेशन पब्लिश करून सर्टन एक लिस्ट पब्लिश करतील की ओके सो अँड सो सप्लाईज आहेत, सो अँड सो गुड्स आहेत. सो हे गुड्स जर तुम्ही परचेस करत असाल, इफ यू आर रेसिपियंट्स ऑफ दॅट गुड्स, they have not used the words purchaser because you have analyzed the definition of the recipient. Recipientची डेफिनेशन आपण कशी स्टडी केली होती? In case if there is a consideration, then the person who is liable to pay that consideration, and if the consideration is not there, then the person to whom goods are made available or person to whom services are rendered will be the recipient. लक्षात येत आहे? So that will be treated as recipient and that will be treated as reverse charge. So government will publish a list of goods and list of services with certain condition in that notification, and if we are receiving that goods, then we are going to pay tax on that inward supply, we are going to pay tax on that purchases, and we will be the taxable person or the person liable to pay tax. What do they mean by this sentence? If in case the tax is evaded, who will be responsible? The recipient and not the supplier. If the tax invoice is not issued, who will be liable for penalty? The recipient and not the supplier. If in case the tax is not at all levied or not at all paid to the government will hold that recipient responsible to pay the tax. So as in normal cases, in forward charge, the supplier is liable to pay the tax, but in case of reverse charge, the recipient is liable to pay taxes on the specified inward supplies. लक्षात येत आहे मित्रांनो? थोडंसं थिअरी जास्त होते असं तुम्हाला वाटत असेल, बट इन ऑर्डर टू अराइव्ह ॲट practical examinations, we must have to complete certain chapters like chapter 1, 2, 3, it is must. Then we have to complete chapter 6 registration chapter जो आहे तोही आपल्याला complete करायचा आहे, input tax return registration. So these are basic chapters in order to solve practical examples. So we are going to take that examples once we have completed the basic syllabus of our part B. बिकॉज माय फ्रेंड्स, जीएसटी असा आहे ना ऍक्ट की तुम्हाला पूर्ण कम्प्युटेशनचं एक्झाम्पल नाही येणार किंवा तुम्हाला फक्त एकाच टॉपिकवरचं एक्झाम्पल नाही येणार. हाऊ दे विल फ्रेम द क्वेश्चन? They will frame the question, okay, his turnover is so and so. So you have to apply the provision from registration topic. Okay, so register turnover is exceeding this and this limit, he is liable to be registered. Okay, once he is liable to be registered, he is taxable person. So if he is taxable person as per section 9(1), he is liable to pay taxes. Now you have to look the transactions which he has. Now if you are knowing that okay, these and these transactions, these two transactions are exempt from chapter 4 exemptions. Okay, so you will see no tax is payable. Then okay, he is purchasing so and so. Okay, there is a reverse charge on the same chapter, section 9 subsection 3. So you have to combine various sections while writing the answer for a one question. So that might be possible. Actually at IPCC level they will not frame a question like this, or they only, I am expecting the first question or first two questions which are compulsory, they will ask you example like this. But in order to clear our concept, in order to write the answers in examination, we must have a thorough understanding of at least some of the few topics which are very much important from exam perspective. So actually chapter 2, 3 are most important from exam perspective. On chapter 3 they don't ask questions on these sections, they only, I am expecting questions only on the reverse charge mechanism, and it will be combined or embedded in another question. And on composition levy, yeah, I am very sure that they are going to ask one or two questions. Either they will ask one or two MCQs, or they will ask the theory question, subjective question on composition levy. But remember, composition levy, there is a question in the examination, it is fixed. So we are on reverse charge mechanism. So थोडं theory असं होत असेल, पण you have to keep pace. तुम्हाला ती थिअरी जरी असली तरी थोडं रिवाइज करून थोडी वी आर ट्राइंग टू मेक इट मोर इंटरेस्टिंग. तुम्हाला थोडं इंटरेस्टिंग वाटलं पाहिजे, कारण वी आर जिथे जिथे ती कन्सेप्ट आहे तिथे आपण रिव्हिजन आहे त्या ठिकाणीच घेत जातोय. सो आपण ती रिव्हिजन आहे त्या ठिकाणी तुम्हीही घरी अशाच पद्धतीने करत राहणं आवश्यक आहे, so that you will be able to cope up with the entire syllabus. Okay, coming to the topic. Now let's see the list which is specified therein. Yeah. So they have given some basic talk regarding reverse charge mechanism, which we have already discussed. So you have to read this part. It is not so important from exam perspective. Two types of reverse charge, 9.3 and 9.4, they have given it. We are just now discussing 9.3 and we will come to 9.4 once we have finished 9.4, 9.3. So they have given you the supplies of goods taxable under reverse charge mechanism, that is the goods where tax is payable by a recipient. So that list I was telling you. So goods like cashew nuts not shelled or peeled, VD wrapper leaves, tobacco leaves, supply of lottery, silk yarn, used vehicles, seized and confiscated goods, old and used goods, wastes and scrap, raw cotton are taxable under reverse charge. See, they have given you the examples of goods on which tax is payable by recipient under reverse charge have been given here under only for the knowledge of students. These are not relevant for examination purpose. So you need not remember all the list of these goods. They have just illustrated certain goods which are there for reverse liability, which are liable for reverse charge. Now let's come to 9 subsection 3, notification number 13 by 2017, central tax. These are represent rates. There are two types of notifications in CGST. One is central tax, which are tax related, and one is central tax rate. That means they are rate related. So reverse charge is covered under that CTR notification. So they have given categories of goods and services, and the supplier to there are two columns, remember. One is category of supply of service, supplier of service, and recipient of service. So remember my friends, when we are going to learn the reverse charge mechanism under 9 subsection 3, there is a condition that supplier must be among this and recipient must be among this. They don't have said that only this service will come under reverse charge. No. If the supplier is this and this person, if the recipient is this and this person, then if this service is provided, then only reverse charge is applicable. See the difference. They have not specified the list of just services. Okay, this service is provided and reverse charge is applicable. No, they have specified who is the supplier. They have specified who is the recipient, and they have also specified the category of service. That means type of that service. So if all the three conditions are met, only then reverse charge will be applicable and not otherwise. So they can jumble you within the list of the supplier and recipient. So त्यांनी supplier ची list लिहिली याच्यामध्ये एखादा बाहेरचा supplier ते विचारतील. So reverse charge will not be applicable in that case. Okay. So let's start with just मेरे पास चार्जर थोड़ा कनेक्ट कर ले and the battery is low. Yes. So let's start. The first category of supply of service is supply of service by a goods transport agency in respect of transportation of goods by road to any factory registered under governed by Factories Act 1948 or any society registered under Societies Registration Act or any time being in force in any part of India, any cooperative society established by or any under any law, any person registered under CGST or the IGST or the SGST or the UTGST Act, or any body corporate established by or under any law, any partnership firm where registered or not under any law including association of persons, and any casual taxable person. So this casual taxable person, the concept is actually covered in your registration topic, but I am just briefing you what is casual taxable person. Casual taxable person is a temporary registration allowed to a taxable person. Say for example, मी महाराष्ट्रामध्ये माझं शॉप आहे and there is trade fair. आपल्याकडे माहिती आहे कंझ्युमर शॉपिंग किंवा अशा पद्धतीचे ट्रेड फेअर्स असतात की जिथे वेगवेगळे शॉपकीपर्स त्यांची सॅम्पल्स घेऊन त्यांचे गुड्स घेऊन तिथे सेल करण्यासाठी एकत्र येतात. सो दॅट माइट बी पॉसिबल in case if a person is registered in Maharashtra and having shop and permanent place of business in Maharashtra is going to another place or another state rather, because GST registration is state wise applicable. But if he is going to supply his goods by going there, by visiting that place from Gujarat for a temporary period of say 30 days or 50 days, so in that case he has no permanent establishment or permanent place of business in that second state. So at this time he will be granted a temporary registration which will only last for 30 days or 60 days. Correct? So he will be registered in the state of Gujarat as a casual taxable person, and he will be registered in Maharashtra as a regular taxable person. So casual taxable person means a person having temporary registration because he do not have a permanent place of business where he is going to occasionally undertake the supply. ज्या ठिकाणी तो तात्पुरता सप्लाय करण्यासाठी जातोय त्या स्टेटमध्ये त्याचं रजिस्ट्रेशन नाहीये, त्याचा परमनंट प्लेस ऑफ बिझनेस नाहीये, सो त्या स्टेटमध्ये त्याला टेम्पररी रजिस्ट्रेशन दिलं जातं, त्याला कॅज्युअल टॅक्सेबल पर्सन असं म्हणतात. करेक्ट? सो काय सांगितलेलं आहे त्यांनी की सप्लाय ऑफ सर्व्हिसेस बाय गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्ट एजन्सी. गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्ट एजन्सी म्हणजे काय, तर अशी एजन्सी की जे गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्टेशनची सर्व्हिस देतात. Say for example, Jagroti Transport is there in Ratnagiri, or New Sudarshan Transport Company, or Tavade Transport Company. These are, you might see these in your premises or your area or your locality, or there are various, like there are VRL Logistics नावाची all over India applicable असलेली goods transport agency आहे, and the names are very large, list is very large, but you have to remember that who is a goods transport agency. Basically the goods transport agency, त्यांनी इथे definition पण त्याची दिलेली असेल, let's see, because that thing is more important. Who is a goods transport agency is more important. I think they have not given the definition of goods transport agency. Actually, they should have given it, but yeah, I will tell you who is the goods transport agency. See, goods transport agency means a person who is engaged in extending services in relation to transportation of goods and who issues a consignment note. Now, what do you mean by consignment note? Consignment note is like a document showing description of goods, showing who is the consigner, who is the consignee, from where goods are dispatched, from where goods are destined, what will be the route, and the other details of vehicle, the weight of consignment, so on. So the consignment note means any document issued by the transporter which discloses that it is a responsibility of transporter to undertake such transport. So such document will be treated as a goods transport. It is treated as consignment note, and the person who issues a consignment note will be treated as goods transport agency. So mere transporter, माझा एकच ट्रक आहे, single individual truck owners, or I am a driver on that truck owner, will not be a goods transport agency. The main business entity will be treated as goods transport agency. So कधीही लक्षात ठेवा, examination मध्ये when the words are used are goods transport agency, only then RCM is applicable. If the words used are individual transporter, individual vehicle owner, then RCM is not applicable. लक्षात येते काय आपण म्हणतोय ते. जर एकच सिंगल ट्रक वाला आहे की तो कन्साइनमेंट नोट वगैरे असं काही डॉक्युमेंट प्रिंटच करत नाही, ही जस्ट accepts goods from one place and delivers them to another place, and he receives his consideration or remuneration. So he will not be treated as goods transport agency. So who will be treated as goods transport agency? The person who is issuing consignment note. सो बेसिकली अगदी एक रॉ ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह बघायचं दादा, इट विल नॉट बी ट्रीटेड, हे कुठे कोर्टमध्ये स्टँड होऊ शकणार नाही. बट व्हाय दिस प्रोव्हिजन इज इम्प्लिमेंटेड की सिंगल ट्रान्सपोर्टर ट्रक ओनर जे आहेत ना, की ज्यांचा एकच ट्रक आहे, दोनच व्हेकल्स आहेत, सो त्यांना ह्याच्यामध्ये आणायची गरज नाहीये. मग जे ऍक्च्युअली बिझनेस म्हणून तो रन करतायत ऍट अ ग्रेटर लेवल, दे विल बी कवर्ड. बिकॉज जेव्हा तुम्ही एखादी मोठा बिझनेस, जेव्हा एखाद्या ट्रान्सपोर्ट कंपनी रन करणार आहे, ऍट दॅट टाइम ही or she, that entity will surely issue a consignment note. There should surely be a documentation, and that consignment note will be by whatever name called. So there are different names for this consignment note. In some areas it is called as vehicle transport receipt. In some areas or in some regions it is called as transportation document. So you can call it by any name. the name given in the act is consignment note, but they have said that consignment note by whatever name called, it will be treated as consignment note. So basically, goods transport agency is that entity which provides transportation of goods services and issues consignment notes. The word or the conjunction used herein is and, so both the conditions are required. That means individual transporters or individual truck owners are not included in this service. Services provided by them are not covered in reverse charge mechanism. आपण रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम मध्ये नाहीये एवढंच बघितलेलं आहे. लक्षात येतंय? सो देयर मे बी अ फॉरवर्ड चार्ज. You have to see, but when we look at the exemptions chapter, there is exemption provided to such transporters. Correct? So who will be the recipient? Actually, they have specified the recipient in the category of service itself by mentioning the words to, but they have given that same list in this recipient of services column, that any factory registered under Factories Act. Now they have said that here registration under Factories Act is important. You might be a sole proprietor, you might be a partnership, you might be a company, you might be association, you might be LLP, whatever. If you are registered under Factories Act, so this factory registered under Factories Act is not person or entity wise. If that factory is registered under Factories Act, then the owner of that entity, that means the PAN, in whose name the factory is registered, because partnership is a distinct person from partner, so in whose name that factory is registered will be the recipient liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. So these are recipient, and recipients a column important ka hai, because the recipient is going to pay tax in this case. Because recipient is going to pay tax in this scenario, that's why the recipient list is here important. Now ही तुम्ही शॉर्टलिस्ट करू शकता. फॅक्टरीज, त्याच्यानंतर सोसायटी, कोऑपरेटिव्ह सोसायटी, देन बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट, रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. नाव हिअर अगेन रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, मग तो रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन प्रोप्रायटर असू दे, LLP असू दे, पार्टनरशिप असू दे, कंपनी असू दे, व्हॉट एव्हर इट मे बी. बट त्यांनी इथे जे म्हटलेलं आहे की इफ any partnership from registered or not under any law or including association of persons, so here there is no requirement that the every person is registered. They have covered registered person as one category here. So even if that body corporate is not registered, so in case say if I have a body corporate established under Companies Act 2013 and my turnover today is only 2 lakh rupees, correct? So actually I am not liable for registration. But if I am a body corporate and I am receiving the goods from, I am receiving the services from Goods Transport Agency, that is GTA, then I will be the recipient liable to pay tax. So ही जी recipient ची list आहे याच्यामध्ये फक्त एक clause घातलेला आहे की any registered person. That means even though the any other persons which are specified in this list are unregistered, still they will be liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. So they have specified exactly that 7 clauses which are specified in first column, in the third column. So go through it. Which are they? 7 columns. So firstly factory, second society, third is cooperative society, then registered person, fifth is body corporate, sixth is LLP, partnership firm, seventh is casual taxable person. The abbreviation used is CTP, casual taxable person. So just go through that list, then we will come here to see this clarification. Okay, so let's come here. They have given one clarification, just highlighted. It is important from exam perspective. They can ask you MCQ even on this portion. So what they have said, however, reverse charge mechanism shall not apply to services provided by GTA by way of transport of goods in a goods carriage by road to a department or establishment of the central government, state government, union territory or local authority or government agencies which has taken registration under GST Act only for the purpose of deducting tax under section 51 and not making a taxable supply of goods or services. So आता गव्हर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स, गव्हर्नमेंट एजन्सीज आणि गव्हर्नमेंट लोकल अथॉरिटीज ज्या आहेत ह्यांना TDS पर्पज साठी रजिस्ट्रेशन मॅन्डेटरी सांगितलेलं आहे. सो टीडीएस पर्पज म्हणजे काय, जसा इन्कम टॅक्स मध्ये टीडीएस आहे तसा जीएसटी मध्ये टीडीएस आहे, टॅक्स डिडक्टेड ऍट सोर्स. सो ज्या वेळेला तुम्ही पेमेंट करता सप्लायरला, त्याच्यातून तुम्हाला सर्टन अमाऊंट जी आहे ती टीडीएस ची कट करायची आहे, तुम्हाला गव्हर्नमेंटला पे करायची. सो या टीडीएस साठीचा जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशनचा नंबर जो आहे तो डिफरंट असतो. सो देर माइट बी पॉसिबिलिटी दॅट दॅट गव्हर्नमेंट एजन्सी और गव्हर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट इज नॉट एंगेज इन आउटवर्ड सप्लाय ऑन विच इट इज लायबल टू पे टॅक्स. It is registered only as a tax deductor. So they have said if government agency is registered as a tax deductor only, then RCM will not be applicable. Otherwise त्यांना काय होईल की आम्ही काही सप्लायच करत नाही, पण आम्ही जस्ट ती सर्व्हिस घेतली त्याचा आम्हाला उगाच त्याचा टॅक्स भरायला लागतोय, आणि वी आर ओनली रजिस्टर्ड फॉर टॅक्स डिडक्शन ऍट सोर्स. सो आम्ही टीडीएस साठी जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशन घेतलंय. सो दॅट रजिस्ट्रेशन इज डिफरंट. त्या टीडीएस रजिस्ट्रेशन मध्ये तुम्हाला इनपुट टॅक्स क्रेडिट, आउटवर्ड सप्लाय वगैरे या फॅसिलिटी असत नाहीत. इट इज ओनली फॉर टीडीएस. तुम्ही कोणाचा किती टॅक्स कट केलेला आहे आणि कोणाचा किती टॅक्स पे केलेला आहे, ओनली दीज डिटेल्स आर देअर. सो असं जर असेल, फक्त टीडीएस पर्पज साठी त्या एंटिटीज जर रजिस्टर्ड असतील तर त्यांना आरसीएम प्रोव्हिजन ऍप्लिकेबल होणार नाही. पण याचा अर्थ जर एखादी गव्हर्नमेंट एजन्सी किंवा गव्हर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट हे आउटवर्ड सप्लाय साठी रेग्युलर रजिस्टर्ड असेल, रेग्युलर रजिस्ट्रेशन त्याने घेतलेलं असेल, तर मात्र इथे आरसीएम ऍप्लिकेबल होईल. सो आय थिंक वी आर ओव्हर विथ दिस गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्ट एजन्सी सर्व्हिसेस. त्यात आता खाली त्यांनी आणखी एक वाक्य दिलंय की जे आपण आता बघितलं नव्हतं. लेट्स सी दिस. Goods Transport Agency who has not paid GST at rate 6%. आता ही काय भानगड आहे किंवा हा 6% त्यांनी अवेल केला नाहीये म्हणजे काय आहे ते आपण बघणार आहोत. पण बेसिकली ही रिव्हर्स चार्ज मध्ये आणण्यामागची तुम्हाला प्रोव्हिजन सांगतो. सी 1994 ला जेव्हा सर्व्हिस टॅक्स लॉ इम्पोज केला गेला किंवा सर्व्हिस टॅक्स लॉ पब्लिश झाला, त्याच्यामध्ये सुद्धा ही रिव्हर्स चार्जची प्रोव्हिजन होती. सो ऍक्च्युअली दिस रिव्हर्स चार्ज कॉन्सेप्ट विच इज इन जीएसटी इज बॉरोड फ्रॉम द अर्लियर सर्व्हिस टॅक्स रेजिम. सर्व्हिस टॅक्स रेजिम मध्ये आरसीएम ची कॉन्सेप्ट आणि मेकॅनिझम होतं, ते तिथून आपण जीएसटी मध्ये बॉरो केलेलं आहे. सो ऍट दॅट टाइम आय थिंक वी आर व्हेरी स्मॉल ऍट दॅट टाइम, 1997 to 2002 या पिरियड मध्ये ज्या वेळेला सर्व्हिस टॅक्स इम्पोज केला गेला गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन सर्व्हिस वरती, त्यावेळेला देअर वॉज अ नेशन वाईड स्ट्राईक बाय ऑल द ट्रान्सपोर्ट एजन्सीज अँड ट्रान्सपोर्टर्स इन इंडिया. सो दॅट हॅपन और दॅट कॉज टू रेस्ट्रिक्शन ऑन ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन. कुठचाही गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्ट एका ठिकाणी दुसऱ्या ठिकाणी होत नव्हता, बिकॉज ऑल द ट्रान्सपोर्टर्स वेर ऑन स्ट्राईक बिकॉज दे डोंट वॉन्ट टॅक्सेस ऑन दिस सर्व्हिसेस. सो त्यांनी हा मोठा खूप संप केला, खूप मोठा स्ट्राईक झाला. सो गव्हर्नमेंट has to go one step backward and they say okay, we have to impose tax on the transportation service. Okay, transporters are not ready to bear the burden of this tax, so let's the business entity should bear the burden. They should pay the tax. So that tax came under RCM mechanism. The service came under RCM mechanism because transporters were not ready and government was intended to pay taxes on the same. As the transport sector is very unorganized sector, त्याच्यामध्ये काही rules regulations नाहीयेत, कुठचे laws नाहीयेत specific. So government has put that tax on the organized sector, that means business sector, who are receiving the services of goods transport agency. And this was a brief history why goods transport agency services are there in reverse charge mechanism. So we are going to see the meaning of this 6% and then we are going to stop. See, in case in GST, the goods transport agency is given an option of 12% tax rate or reverse charge mechanism. Correct. So they have given option to goods transport agency. What option they have given to goods transport agency? The first thing, okay, your recipient will pay tax, you are not going to pay tax. Correct. So you are going to provide service to your recipients of transportation and that recipient will pay tax, you are not required to pay tax. Obviously you will not get any input tax credit because you are not going to pay any tax now. Why input tax credit is given to you? Because you can set it off against the output tax liability. तुम्हाला इनपुट टॅक्स क्रेडिटचा बेनिफिट का दिला जातो? बिकॉज यू should be able to set it off, you should be able to net off against your output tax liability. In this case, if you do not have any output tax liability because entire tax is paid by the recipient, so you will not get input tax credit. Then again certain transporters were complaining that okay, अरे आम्हाला तर input tax credit हवंय, we want input tax credit and we are ready to pay tax under forward charge to the government. So government says okay, you are ready to pay tax under forward charge, take this another option. pay tax at the rate of 12%, 6% CGST, 6% SGST, or 12% IGST, and avail entire input tax credit for all the materials and the services which you receive for your transportation business. So this is option given to the supplier. Now my friends, answer me logically. जर transport agency किंवा goods transport agency ही forward charge मध्ये 12% रेग्युलर पद्धतीने टॅक्स कलेक्ट करून पे करायला रेडी असेल, then why there will be a reverse charge as well? एकाच ट्रान्झॅक्शन वरती दोनदा टॅक्स चार्ज नाही ना होणार. So there will not be a case where forward charge is also levied and reverse charge is also levied. Charge will be only once. So जर फॉरवर्ड चार्ज अंडर ती ट्रान्झॅक्शन आली तर रिव्हर्स चार्ज मेकॅनिझम अप्लाय होणारच नाही. बट हे कोणावरती डिपेंडंट आहे? दिस इज डिपेंडंट ऑन द ऑप्शन विच इज चोजन बाय दॅट गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्ट एजन्सी. सो इफ दॅट गुड्स ट्रान्सपोर्ट एजन्सी इज विलिंग टू चूज दॅट ऑप्शन ऑफ 12% GST at forward charge mechanism, then no reverse charge will be applicable. But okay, if the transporter or goods transport agency is saying no, I don't want input tax credit, I don't want that झंझट and magajmari, so okay, recipient should pay tax, मला काहीच करायचं नाही, मी फक्त माझे पैसे घेणार आणि गप्प बसणार, goods transport service देणार, and I should not be concerned with GST. So he is not going to opt for 12% option. Then he can, sorry, then he can choose this option, and if he chooses this option, then his recipient is liable to pay tax under RCM. So when you are going to examine in the examination the issue whether the transportation service received by a registered person is liable to RCM, you have to first analyze, or you have to write assumption that if you are saying that RCM is applicable, then you have to write assumption in the examination that okay, we are assuming that the goods transport agency has not opted for the 12% rate with input tax credit. Now let's understand how they have designed it in the form of flowchart. Person liable to pay tax under GTA service कोण असणार? Normally recipient असणार, because it is covered under reverse charge mechanism. Say where GST is payable at the rate of 5% and where GST is payable at the rate of 12%. Let's come to here. When GST is payable at the rate of 12%. Okay, so when GST is payable at the rate of 12%, then if recipient is one of the specified recipients, then forward charge. If recipient is other than specified recipients, आता ह्याच्यापेक्षा स्पेसिफाईड रेसिपियंट पेक्षा अदर दॅन म्हणजे कोण असणार? बेसिकली अनरजिस्टर्ड इंडिव्हिज्युअल अँड कन्झ्युमर. मी चैतन्य वैद्य, माझा जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशन नाहीये, आणि मी समजा ट्रान्सपोर्टेशनला गेलो आणि सांगितलं की ओके, माझ्या हाऊस होल्ड काही कबर्ड्स आहेत किंवा काही फर्निचर आहे, आय वॉन्ट टू ट्रान्सपोर्ट इट फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अनदर प्लेस, आय एम शिफ्टिंग फ्रॉम रत्नागिरी टू मुंबई. सो असं जर मी सर्व्हिस घेतली असेल तर दॅट सर्व्हिस इज एक्झम्प्ट अंडर जीएसटी, याच्यावरती टॅक्सेस लेवी केला नाही, इट इज कवर्ड अंडर एक्झम्पशन नोटिफिकेशन. बट इफ रेसिपियंट इज विदिन दॅट स्पेसिफाईड कॅटेगरी, if he is registered person, if it is factory, if it is cooperative society, if it is society, if it is firm, if it is any OOP, or if it is a casual taxable person, then that in that case the tax rate is 12%. GTA has gone to option of 12%, so GTA will collect 12% from that recipients, and GTA will pay that tax to the government in a forward charge. That means normal mechanism. But in case if GTA has chosen option of 5%. Now 5% means RCM option. So in that case, if that recipient is within the specified categories, then that recipient is going to pay tax, or that recipient is going to pay GST on under RCM basis at the rate of 5% only. And if recipient is other than that specified recipient, that means GTA has chosen the option to provide to go under reverse charge mechanism, and he is providing services to person who is not listed in that list. For example, unregistered individual or unregistered HUF. In that case, that service is exempt, so no GST will be applicable on the same. सो ज्या ठिकाणी जीटीए ने 12% चा रेट अप्लाय केलेला आहे, स्वीकारलेला आहे, त्या ठिकाणी फॉरवर्ड चार्ज ऍप्लिकेबल होईल, त्या ठिकाणी आरसीएम ऍप्लिकेबल होणार नाही. So here they have given the definition of recipient. Recipient of services or the recipient of GTA services is the person who pays or is liable to pay freight for transportation of goods by road in carriage located in the taxable territory. So who is the person liable, who is the recipient in case of GTA services? The person who is liable to pay freight. आता इथे freight म्हणजे काय? Actually definition recipient चीच आहे, पण त्यांनी कशी फ्रेम केली? GTA सर्व्हिस मध्ये कन्सिडरेशन म्हणजे काय? त्याला फ्रेट म्हणतात. ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन साठी आपण जे काही कन्सिडरेशन देतो, इट इज टर्म्ड एज फ्रेट. सो पर्सन हु इज लायबल टू पे फ्रेट विल बी द रेसिपियंट. So here we have covered the goods transport agency. It is the most important provision in the reverse charge mechanism. So learn it by heart. परत एकदा वाचा, शांतपणे वाचा. आपण सगळ्या गोष्टी बघितल्या त्या स्टडी करा. आपण रिव्हिजन मध्ये हा पार्ट परत एकदा कव्हर करणार आहोत. ओके, अंटिल देन बाय.